Hello, everyone. Welcome to BizzTalk World Talk Show presented by Click of the Creators. Today, we have Coach Oscar with us. He's regarded as Africa's top business strategist. Oscar is a sort of out transformational business coach, international speaker. He's a mentor, he's an author, and a leader as well. A catalyst for ignition, passion, shifting thinking, and driving performance as well. He basically will help empower you to take what you already know, package it, share it, and monetize it. That's a summary of what he really is and what he really does. So without further ado, let me introduce you to the personality himself. Hello, Oscar. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
And how are you doing?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I appreciate the opportunity.
Pleasure's all ours. Thank you very for joining. Thank you very much for joining us for this session. All right, so I tried my level best to cover things about you in your, in my words. But for our viewers, it would be wonderful if you can brief us about your journey so far, if we can understand more about you in your own words.
First of all, once again, I want to thank you. Thank you for the great job you guys are doing, especially for entrepreneurs and also getting people to come on board to share story. I've always said that there's nothing that helps people to shift their thinking, their mindset than when you have someone who's been through what or where you currently are and the person fight it and was able to stand out. I think these are what help people than just tell someone you can do it, you will be able to do it, and you don't have practical tools. Going through your programs and all the interviews, amazing job. Now, Coach Oscar, I'm more into the transformational journey, and I know this kind of embraces both the story and the action, the accountability. I'm getting people to actually take what you know, get started somehow. I know the issue is always, how do I get started? And that's where I come in. So I'm a transformational speaker, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I run or I sit on 3 businesses that we're currently doing. So I think the difference between what I do and a couple of others there is that I'm not just a guy who speaks on platforms. Yes, I've been privileged to have been to over 10 countries and I've spoken to audience as big as 1,005. But that's not the thing. I'm not just the speaker side. I'm also doing the work. So I know what it means to when your finance are not in place or are not up to date. I know what it means to manage people or how to deal with people. I know what it means to say you prospecting, selling, and marketing. So for me, I'm more of a round the clock. I do all of that. And then I'm happy to always share my story, my journey, how it all began. I got fired. I have my background in banking. I spent over 10 years in the banking industry. And just one day, I love the job. I've always loved to be in that space. But somehow, one day I just get that letter that, sorry, your service is no longer needed. It's cool to say that way, but I always say I got fired because I think that way a lot of people can get to relate with this. And then once the job was gone, I'm sitting here asking myself this question, but what can I do with my life? I've been fired from the job I love so much. What else can I do? Now, the thing is this, while I was in the corporate space, I was able to write books. I was able to be going out to do training. So I started identifying the skill sets that I feel that I'm gifted or people allude that I have. And then I knew I could write as an author. I've written 3 books. I've been conducting seminars and speaking on platforms. I do this on the side, even while I kept my corporate job. So when the job was gone, I took this and I'm asking myself, are there people who write and make money from their books? Are there people who speaks and get paid for speaking or for training or teaching? Now, I also find out there are people who do consulting, business consulting. I may not have it all, but I know someone who has that product or service, and then I connect people and just maybe put a benchmark and profit markup from there. So I learned this and I started asking questions. Are people monetizing this? Are people monetizing what they have? And cut the long story short, yes, I saw people who are actually in the business. And the next thing I need to set back again and ask myself is, I don't want to just be in the illusion of passion. Passion, I've always said, doesn't put money in your bank account. Passion can make you broke and you will hate the passion. So I know there's passion. And the second part of it is there's the business of your passion. So
That's
I
right.
chose that. I found mentors, people who are already in that space that I want to be. Then I started asking questions, sign up for their program, went for their training, even had to work for free for some of them. Like the speaker that I understudy is a world speaker, but I had to volunteer, work freely with them. And then over time, I learned the rudiment and the business of it. And that's where I am today.
That's beautiful. That's a lot of thing about you to learn. I mean, for us, let's get more into it now. You talked
All
about
right.
you've started. You got fired from your last organization that you were with, and then
Mm,
you chose to follow mentors on the route that they already
yeah.
have seen, and they know where the dip is and what's the
Yeah.
right path to follow. Basically, that's another part of success that I would say.
Mm, mm.
You must have seen more obstacles than that. Before that, if you can talk about um, how do you really manage teams, how do you really manage people after learning and seeing
Mm.
so many things in your life? What's your method of team and people management, if you can guide us through that?
I think for me, when you look at people's management and how to deal with change, everything begins. If you read a book by How to Think Big and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, every great success begins with a mind. That's where the whole success or idea of how you deal with change and how you manage people. Now, it's something that would not be correct if you think everyone will behave in a certain pattern or in a certain way. We are all human, and you cannot confine people to probably just do it the way you want it. Of course, that's why you have jail or correctional services in every country, in every state, because there are individuals or some people who might not just go that right way. So
Mm-hmm.
as a leader, you have to think and understand that, okay, how do I deal with such kind of people? How do I build a system? Now, the most important thing, if you really want to get at least the majority, not the few who might break the law, but the majority is you need to create a system. Create
Mm-hmm.
a system that teaches people, create a system that helps people from time to know the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people act within what they know or within the power of their knowledge, their ability. Now, for you to expect constant high performance or a result from someone, you will need to invest in the learning so they begin to know more. The more they know, the better they become. So you set
Mm-hmm.
a structure like an organization when we were not, obviously the COVID kind of really hits us
Mm-hmm.
and we weren't really performing well. At some point, you have to make it known to your staff. Look, guys, the profit is not coming in. Business is not doing well like it used to. We're thinking of retrenching. Who would go or who want to stay with us? If you want to stay, obviously, maybe we won't be able to meet up our obligation like we normally do. Is this a sacrifice you want to put? Now, what's the point here? There was that openness to have a conversation
Mm-hmm.
and then paint the picture. Of course, there's a potential or possibility that it will still pick up. We do not know when. Are you willing to go this journey with us? So there
Mm-hmm.
should always be this engagement with your team, engagement with the people on why they should consider things. You don't put it to them to change, but
Mm-hmm.
why they should consider it. I think that's so important to look at when you think of how to deal with change and manage people.
All right. So you also mentioned about you've been traveled to more than 10 countries for speaking and for the
Mm.
conferences and for the events.
Yeah.
What's the difference that you see in an I mean, I'm talking about from the standpoint of coach. What's the difference that you see in the mentality and the head of I mean, individuals from a developed countries and from a developing nation or an underdeveloped nation? What's
Nation.
the key difference? The only difference that you see that if they change it, then things can picture can we can see a new picture coming up from that particular nation.
I think from my experience of having traveled to a couple of countries, met different people of different colors, different religion and race and all of that. First and foremost, the one thing I've been able to identify is that we all human. We are citizens of the earth or citizens of the globe. So we all have that humanity in every one of us. Doesn't matter the religion or the color. Um, every one of the people I've got to meet frown at what is wrong. Very few will tolerate wrong stuff. So I think there's that humanity in all of us and the willingness to be passionate. When you meet someone and you say this person is acting this way, sometimes people act a certain way because of their experience or because of their background or from their orientation. Now, my experience first and foremost is I've seen people where somehow you thought are not receptive, or people you have, this thing called prejudice. I have to prejudge you even before I met you. And then I am relating with you from the thinking of what a third party already said to me about you without even meeting with you, without even having a conversation with you. So I've seen this and it's so rampant. And I think that's the one undoing that seems to be turning our world around. Besides that, we human give every human or give everyone the opportunity for the benefit of doubt. Give that person a chance. We all deserve that first chance or second chance, but give, hey, this young man from the UAE, Arab, this man from the US, this man from Kenya, this man from South Africa. We're not all what we've been painted by, maybe the media or by the stereotype typing thing going around. We're first and foremost human. And once I identify this, I see that we all yearn for change. People need or wants to grow. People wants to get better. And how does this happen? The more they get exposed to new things, the more they get taught new things or given a new perspective, the more they want to change. So all of this will happen if you give someone the opportunity to learn, someone to see things differently, and then leave the person to make a choice. Exposure is very important, if I have to add again. Exposure, constant exposure to learning, exposure to new things, new habits, a new way of doing things. I think these are very fundamental in how people change and become the kind of persons we want them to be, or organization.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Coming from, talking about where you're coming from, you said a very beautiful line. I mean, there's a difference between passion and making a business out of your passion.
Sure.
I would say in a generic or in a layman's language, how do you really convert your passion to a business? I mean, let's say if I love to play guitar, how do I really turn it to a profession where I don't end up losing my skills, rather building it up and making a whole team out of it? I mean, if you can learn through an example or through your example as well, you from being fired from a job to being a coach. I mean,
Yes.
how it really happens with an individual?
I think this whole thing is more of sorry about my camera was shifting. Now,
No.
this whole thing about the how, it's fundamental to growth. You don't like where you are, or you don't like what the lifestyle or what is happening around you. The next thing is you have to sit back and begin to ask yourself the next question, but how do I move from where I am? A lot of people are trapped where they are, not because they don't like or they like the place, but they've not been able to figure out the how. For me, I was very intentional. Now, I lost my job or got fired from my job that I loved so much, nearly about 10 years ago. And then I knew I had a family. For me, family always comes first. I have a family to look up to. I have parents, aged parents that I was supporting. Now, I had bills to take care of. So there was no way I could just sit there and begin to whine and complain what went wrong, who did this, who did that, launch a formal complaint, I didn't need all of that. At the end of the day, the bills still need to be paid. And because these things need to be taken care of, for me, I was very action oriented on what needs to be done like right away. What must I do now? Now, I started what I've been doing, like the speaking, even while I was still keeping my corporate job. I was always going out to do trainings or speaking on the weekend. I work from Mondays to Friday. So I was doing this unconsciously if it was going to become a business for me. I wrote two books, even while I was still in the same organization. I didn't know it could become an opportunity or a potential. Now, I was LinkedIn or referring people to do businesses. Like in the bank, you are exposed to a lot of people. And then when someone asks you a question, or do you know this? And you simply refer without adding a price tag to it. Now, like I said, that was more of a hobby. That was more of what I love to do, helping people, get people inspired. But besides that, when the job was gone, that was when I started asking questions. But I've seen people get invited to speak, and these guys get paid. And the question is, how did they do this? Then I've seen people who have written books and were making money, becoming best-selling authors. How do they make money? So it's this questioning of how that led me to understand that there's a business, there's a passion, and there's a business of that passion. So that I had a choice to make, just like any other person. I had a choice. So what was my choice? Okay, let me identify like 5 persons in every industry. Who were the top guys? How do I learn? How do I get to know what they know? Because the truth is, there are a lot of people doing the same exact thing, but the truth is not everyone commands the same amount of money. I get invited to speak and I get paid for what I do. But there are a lot of people who probably might be better, I don't know, but don't get paid. So the thing is, what does A do? And he gets paid, and B does the same thing but doesn't get paid. Obviously, there was a secret around this. And that's the how led me to finding out this how. And obviously, when I met these mentors and these thought leaders who at the time were like role models and experts that I look up to, they showed me the how. And then one of the best things that I learned from them was, first and foremost, they taught me, do not see yourself as a speaker, don't see yourself as a coach, don't even see yourself as a serial entrepreneur. Go see yourself as a marketer, as a sales guy. That way you'll be able to sell. And I also did learn partly that those who sell and make so much money, it's not because their product is the best. No, I think what stands out is these guys just know how to get people see things on their side or their way, and then I'm willing to swipe the card and make the payment. So that was the first fundamental principle that I learned, that you have to be so good at selling, so good at persuading people to see things from your side. Once you get that right, you can come back and say you are a speaker, you are a coach, you are a serial entrepreneur, and then you know you will be able to harness the benefits. So for me, the how, it's based on how much you want it, how badly do you want it, and what you're willing to do to get what you want. That's just going to make a huge difference.
I guess then it's all about value creation. It's all about passion. It's all about understanding what you do, how you do it, and why you do it. So it's all the WHOs that we have.
Right. That's so
all
true.
right, that's
so
wonderful.
True.
I guess that would be the start point from this session. All right,
wow,
great, great, Oscar. I guess we had a great conversation. To sum up with this in a single line, if I can have something, what would you advise to young professionals in a very, like, just a single or like 1 or 2 lines? What would you advise to young professionals in your industry, and where they can find you as well? I mean, where they can find you and learn more about you?
Okay, you can get me on from all of the, I think majority of the social media. I'm there on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram. Just type my name, Oscar Emetuei. You will find me. On Google, you can just type I am Coach Oscar, hashtag I am Coach Oscar, one word. On Google, you find me on those different platforms. And I'm always there, happy. We run masterminds and programs that help people from across the globe. We'll be happy to be of help.
Great, that's wonderful, guys. I guess then our viewers can, whenever you want to learn extra about Coach Oscar, you can go through his Twitter accounts, his Facebook, just smash his DMs and just bombard him with the questions, and you can learn more about him anytime that you want. And I believe that you learned a lot of things about him. I did. We got some star points from his and from him and his journey. So I would like to thank you very much, Oscar, for sharing such great insights with us. And we, of course, look forward to having a great chat with you again in the future on some other trending topics in the international business industry. And now for our viewers, if you like this chat with Coach Oscar, please like and share this video, and also subscribe to Clickaway Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do. And you have more coming in from industry leaders and mentors like Coach Oscar. This was Sagar for BizzTalk World. This was Coach Oscar. We are signing off for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. One love.